Here. Alrighty. So, Katherine Pratt, why don't you share with us what you're doing? I know you've got your hands in a couple different operations, but specifically with your veteran focused passion project. Share. Why don't you share with us what that's all about?
Sure. So thank you so much. It's exciting to be part of something that you do have a passion for and to see, it kind of get legs and start to have doors open is something that's so beautiful to see. And I think that that's when you really lean into it, is when you start seeing those doors open and that excitement and that momentum, you found your fit, you found your place, and you know that you're on the right track. So I've been in credit unions for over 20 years, retired from the corporate world, and really saw a significant disconnect with financial literacy and the veteran space. You being a veteran yourself, Greg, and obviously being very financially literate, you would understand kind of where missteps and where that financial life cycle is for that veteran
Oh, sure.
from when they first join and understanding what that they're young, they're getting sign-on bonuses, they're possibly juggling deployments, juggling family life. The civilian financial world is not something that they're accustomed to. They're not accustomed to taxes, they're not accustomed to all of these different things, housing, all of the things that we think as part of our normal day. They're not accustomed to that. So, in witnessing with my spouse, I'm a military spouse, witnessing kind of that transition, and it's so robust because what we have found, what research has shown us, is that financial stressors are within the top five preventable intersections in a veteran's life that can lead to homelessness and suicide. So, in peeling back the layers and understanding that financial literacy is so manageable and it's something that's so tangible, it's such a tangible skill that we can pass on and we can mitigate and really start that prevention early and even start it at the beginning of that financial life cycle for the veteran. So, I know, like Greg, I know that you're a Marine veteran. Obviously, you're a credit union CEO, so you straddle both of those
Hmm.
worlds.
Sure.
How have you seen that in real life in regards to both of those worlds?
Well, actually, that reminds me of back when I was in active duty. I was down at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and my mother was talking with a financial advisor and had sent me some information. And basically, there was it was like a little workbook on financial literacy, and nobody I knew had any of that kind of knowledge and information. And through the booklet, it started showing that if you started saving early, and you could literally start using the effect of what's called compound interest.
Mhm.
So as you start putting money, say, into an investment, and that starts growing, you eventually start having not just your principal growing, but then as your principal um, gains either interest or dividends or what type of investment you have it in, then that interest and dividends and that growth that you have in there starts earning. And then over time, you have what's called compound interest. And this, just real brief, it showed, if you started like at the age of 22, I think it was, by, putting a couple $100s a month into a retirement, by the time you hit 65, you could potentially have $1 million of a nest egg. And I remember showing that to one of my fellow Marines. I said, "Hey, look at this," and he's like, "$200," and all of a sudden he's like, $1 million. There's no way, that's a scam. And so, and it wasn't. It was legitimately showing how. But you can see just from me talking to fellow Marines, that they thought that was a scam. Because a financial advisor showing you if you put this money away, you'll have $1 million. And, nobody, I guarantee you, nobody of the thousands of Marines that I was stationed with down there probably thought that it was possible that you could have $1 million. But truly, if you, do set up some type of a retirement account and you're disciplined enough to put money in over time, and Warren Buffett starts talking about how, there's good debt and bad debt and different types of assets and how they grow. And so literally, I believe wholeheartedly that veterans is a area that can use the financial literacy and the information and tools that credit unions can give them.
I absolutely love that story, and I think that resonates so deeply. Obviously, your mother is very wise, very smart to not only pick up on that for not only herself. Sorry, the dogs are barking.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't hear any dogs barking.
Okay,
So
good.
You can't hear them.
But I think that it's so interesting that you mentioned that your fellow Marines thought that was a scam. And the fact that you didn't, because it came from your mother and that mother's advice, that it was that layer of trust. It was that layer. So to peel back some of those layers a little bit, why do you think that there was that impression of a scam? Do you think that, like, if we peel back those layers, is it just a product of the demographic of military service? Is it like what makes the fact that your mother is passing that information along so different than another veteran's mother? Like, are we talking about maybe systemic issues with the lack of that first financial literacy, like that first pinpoint of the veteran's life cycle being a trusted source of financial literacy and interjection there? Because I think that's so interesting that you were the minority when it came to the financial literacy component, and why that is.
Probably, like I said, the majority of the younger military types out there come from a lower income or middle income type of background, so they don't have some of the same knowledge base on how money works. And so that's one of the great things that I think you bringing veterans and credit unions together with that financial literacy, explaining how money works, how credit works, compounding interest. Just to know that it's possible that literally you can start a savings or retirement plan and have that build up over time, not really realizing the potential that you have.
That's so true. And I think that's, one of the reasons why I was really excited about bringing these two communities together, because of the understanding that credit unions are not for profit, and the fact that their bottom line is not about the profits. It's not about the scam or the what's hidden behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
To create that fear of, there's no way I could be a millionaire by the time I'm, to that point, that mentality.
Yeah.
And I think that credit unions are in such a unique position because of their ethos and because of the fact that they truly are a co-op and they truly are member owned, and that the benefit is the people helping people and the service to their local community. So I think that, that trust factor becomes so pivotal. And we, as a community, as a credit union community, and as a movement, we can then insert ourselves as that prudent advice on that early intervention. And of course, through all phases of, military service to, reenlistment, giving them good advice on their reenlistment bonus. What are the chances? I mean, you would probably know this really close. Like when I look at Benning, right, there's nothing but car dealerships around. There's, payday lenders. And you could probably speak to that from Camp Lejeune on what's right outside of the base.
Sure.
And that from predatory lending, and getting in that hurricane and that cyclone of predatory lending and what that does to set veterans backwards and service members backwards. And I think that credit unions are that pivotal point. I think the credit union movement, because we're not for profit, we don't spend a lot on a national wide campaign. It's kind of like every credit union for themselves to really market within their community, their field of membership. And I think that if I had a magic wand, it would be bringing the credit unions together to get that consistent national message across the board. And I know that you're doing this already, Greg, with your credit union forum in trying to bring those individuals together so that there's that interwoven fabric within the movement, that there's a consistent message that we're all lifting each other up. And I think that that's what the coalition really is wanting to do, is unite credit unions. We know that veterans, obviously, we've just talked about this. Veterans are traditionally financially underserved, and it does come from, that demographic of where military personnel are coming from, enlist as well as officers, and what that looks like. And I think that it's the numbers speak for themselves, that only 1 in 8 veterans ever take advantage of their VA loan. And it comes back to education. It comes back to that point. Debt, credit card debt. We know we've seen the Servicemen Relief Act come out of that, because again, that financial literacy, veterans getting into that heavy duty predatory lending and that high credit card debt because they're young. And their job is rated a lot of times for risk when it comes to predatory lending. So there's another ding against them. And we also know that post 9/11 veterans, more than 11% face currently housing instability crisis. And that's just housing crisis. We know that 7 kill themselves every day due to suicide. Credit unions are so uniquely positioned to be a prevention source because you see the members that are struggling financially. You see the overdrawn accounts. And because of our people first centric philosophy, instead of just charging them a fee and charging them a fee and charging them a fee and digging that hole greater, that's where credit unions make a difference, because they can have a conversation with the member, peel back those layers, and be that prevention tool instead of it just being a moneymaker fee-driven structure like we've seen with other financial institutions.
Right. Well, so we've got Maria on the call here too. So we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. We were sharing how some of the audience that I go after and some of the audience Maria goes after. I'm going to do a shameless plug here, and that
Love
is
it.
the book that Maria and it's a daddy-daughter duo program, is Passion, Profits, and Purpose. And that's kind of how we got you on here today, because you're living your passion and living your, you found your passion with the veterans, you're living your purpose. For any listeners out there, why don't you share with them, what is your website? Where can they find more information?
Yes. So our organization, it's a 501c6 nonprofit, and we are the National Credit Union Coalition for America's Heroes. So our website is www.ncucah, And I know I've had the pleasure of spending time with Maria. I know she is a proud veteran daughter, and I know that she's come with us to advocate at the NCUA, the National Credit Union Administration, to the federal agencies speaking on veterans issues. And I want to thank Maria because she definitely is living her purpose and she's supporting you. And I think that's what it's all about, is just creating this collaborative space where we can come together and share. And both of you embody that.
Lily, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any closing questions, Maria, before we sign off?
Well, I think we, even just listeners, can understand kind of, your brand and your mission. So that was kind of just like my main opportunity today, was kind of understand, your brand, your mission, for those who aren't aware of, your background or what you're passionate about. So I think we pretty much, hit the nail on the head with that. So I appreciate your time today. I'd love to circle back with you, and get more time scheduled and kind of, understand, more of like the processes and maybe the tools that you're utilizing, for that brand and how you're getting your name out there and that sort of thing. But we can save that for another time. So.
Sounds good.
Alrighty.
Sounds good. And I want to thank Greg. Greg is also on our advisory board. So he is the chairman of the coalition. And we want to thank him for his service and for his vision. He's been a part of it since its inception. So I want to thank him, both of you, for seeing the vision and resonating with it.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for your time, Catherine. I'm going to make sure when we get the information out, we'll have a link in the description to take them to your website so they can find out more about it.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.